بعض الناس يضحك عليهم الشيطان. بعض الناس يضحك عليهم الشيطان. بعض الناس يضحك عليهم الشيطان.
I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
The El Paso, Las Cruces communities, Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish the same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish the same fake stories without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 You were a terrible anti-science Luddite for asking why, you know, the shots that we require our kids to get that fundamentally by their own advertising change the immune system of that child for life, why it's gone from 20 to 70. To even ask that question, the news referees that and calls you anti-science when the two largest vaccine makers in the country are literally criminal enterprises. GlaxoSmithKline and Merck, in the past 5 years, has settled two of the largest criminal penalties in American corporate history for bribing and misleading, bribing doctors and creating misleading research, who are the two largest vaccine makers. So you literally have the media playing referee that you can't even ask a question.
يقول لهم التطعيم هذا فيه ضرر لأن هناك من قال إن فيه ضررا.
We must acknowledge that the genetic COVID-19 genetic injections cause far more harm than good and provide zero benefit relative to risk for the young and healthy. They do not reduce COVID-19 infection, which is treatable and not terminal. Furthermore, the most recent data demonstrates that you are more likely to become infected or have disease or even death if you've been vaccinated compared to the unvaccinated people. This is shocking to hear, but it is what the data are showing us. The data now show that these experimental gene therapy treatments can damage your children as well as yourself. They can damage your heart, your brain, your reproductive tissue, and your lungs. This can include permanent damage and disablement of your immune system.
Forgive me, Assistant Director. It may sound insensitive, but the suggestion is pure science fiction.
What I'm saying, Agent Einstein, is that the facts, as I understand them, cannot be discounted out of hand.
No one has the right or the ability to tamper with your DNA.
Unless we gave them that ability.
وهذا باطل يا إخوة، لأنه يرجع في هذا إلى أهل الخبرة، وتكفي غلبة الظن في هذا.
And so I started looking at the articles where they say that they've discovered a novel coronavirus. And what I uncovered is that they put forth this experimental criteria that proves the existence of a virus. But when you take a closer look, it's actually the experiment itself that gives them the proof they need, even if you don't even have any source of a virus in the experiment at all. And this was actually carried out recently by Dr. Stefan Lanka in Germany, who showed that he got the same proof of a virus by doing the experiment without any source of a virus whatsoever.
ولا يرجع الإنسان إلى أناس يزعمون أمورا الله أعلم بحقيقتها. فيقول أحدهم أنا طبيب، والله أعلم هل هو طبيب أو لا.
We are here to announce the World Doctors Alliance under the roof of ACU2020.org.
So in medicine, in science, we have something called levels of evidence, okay? And we've got our high level evidence and lower levels of evidence. And our highest level of evidence are clinical trials. So to the doctors who tell you that these things save lives, ask them, you know, what did the two randomized clinical trials that we've done during the pandemic, what did they show? Ask them that when they tell you that these things save lives. One found nothing, zero benefit. The other found a small benefit, like a tiny benefit that's, you know, that's a little bit methodologically shaky. And by the way, none of them found a benefit in young people. Not a single one found a benefit in young people. That's the highest quality evidence. That's what it showed. Lower evidence is what the CDC likes to tout. You know, shaky studies, shaky methods, finding 80% reductions in infection. Give me a break, you know? I mean, come on. You know, nothing that we're seeing in this country justifies that kind of conclusion. So that's what the evidence shows. And doctors who said that these things are not going to save your life. You know, these things aren't going to end the pandemic. These doctors, they got, you know, they've been kicked off of social media. Like, these are facts. They've had their licenses suspended, you know, because they didn't think that their clinical practices needed to do that. I mean, that's crazy. Good doctors who were brave enough to say what the science showed got punished. And that's happening, and it's still happening, where people are still holding up the illusion that these things save lives. These things are not saving lives.
We are doctors, scientists, and peace activists, and we are all saying together, this affair of COVID-19 is just not true.
وأنا حتى لو كان طبيبا هو ليس من أهل الأبحاث والدراسة.
They start with a swab from a person with symptoms. Then they add several toxic substances. Then they observe that monkey cells became damaged. They assume the damage was caused by not just a virus, but a human virus. Then they choose a virus from GenBank that they think it might be similar to. Then they run several computer algorithms to make the data fit that model. A panel of experts tweaks the final result to publish what will come to be known as the SARS-CoV-2 complete genome.
بل الأبحاث العلمية والدراسات السريرية ونحو ذلك كلها نحت إلى أن هذا التلقيح ليس فيه ضرر يخشى منه.
Pfizer marketed its vaccine as safe for pregnant women. However, in February of 2021, Pfizer possessed reports for 458 pregnant women who received Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine during pregnancy. More than half of the pregnant women reported an adverse event, and more than 10% reported a miscarriage, many within days of the vaccination. Pfizer also possessed information from its own October 2020 study on pregnancy in rats, indicating that its COVID-19 vaccine was likely linked to infertility loss of litters, and stillborn offspring. Number 2, safety relating to heart conditions like myocarditis. Pfizer consistently denied any evidence of a connection or safety signal between its COVID-19 vaccine and myocarditis or pericarditis. Indeed, on January 18, 2023, when asked whether its vaccine caused strokes or myocarditis, Pfizer chairman and CEO Alan Berla stated, quote, "We've not seen a single signal, although we have distributed billions of doses," end quote. A signal that he was referring to as a safety signal, which refers to a negative consequence. However, as Pfizer knew, the United States government, the United States military, foreign governments, and others had found that Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine caused myocarditis and pericarditis.
وأن نفعه أعظم بكثير من الضرر الذي فيه إن وجد. ثم أنا أقول إن الراجح من أقوال أهل العلم أن التداوي من المرض الذي يخشى منه الهلاك أو الأذية للآخرين واجب. وهذا الفيروس الموجود اليوم يتحقق فيه الأمران: يخشى منه الهلاك وكم من أشخاص نعرفهم ماتوا بسببه.
If this is real, where are all the dead bodies of all the homeless people on the planet? Every society has homeless people. Where are these bodies that are littering? That's the first question. Second question is, who do you know personally that has died of COVID? And I've actually used this before, and a couple of people starts talking about, well, I know this person, that person. And I'm like, no, who do you know personally yourself? Well, whenever they come up with the people, they'll say my grandmother, my grandfather, my this and that. But then when you ask them, well, where were they when they died? Well, they were in hospice. How long were they in hospice? Well, for 7 years. You know, they had, so they would have died anyway. It has nothing to do with COVID. So my question is, how many people do you know directly that didn't have a comorbidity, that weren't in the hospital, that weren't already sick, that died of COVID? And invariably, if a person's going to be honest, virtually nobody knows anybody that died of COVID.
وأيضا فيه أذى متعدي، فقد ينقل الإنسان الفيروس إلى غيره. وعليه فالذي أفتي به وأنا مطمئن القلب أن الذي يخالط الناس يجب عليه أن يأخذ هذا اللقاح إلا أن يوجد فيه مانع يقرره الأطباء فيعفى من اللقاح. أقول أنا أفتي وأنا مطمئن القلب أن الذي يخالط الناس يجب عليه أن يأخذ هذا اللقاح ولا عذر له في تركه إلا أن يكون ممن يعفون منه لأسباب. أما أن تجلس في بيتك ولا تخالط الناس فهذا شأنك، ما أحد يوجب عليك أن تأخذه، لكن تريد أن تذهب مع الناس إلى المسجد وتخالط الناس في أسواقهم يجب أن تأخذ اللقاح ولا يجوز تركه.
Been exempted from getting the vaccines. All of Congress, plus all the congressional staff, House and the Senate. That's a lot of people. 6,000 White House employees, all exempted. 2,500 Pfizer employees exempted. 1,500 Moderna employees, and 120,000 Johnson & Johnson employees, all exempted. 15,000 CDC, 14,000 FDA employees, exempted. 8 million Chinese students in this country. 8 million. How many of them are PLA, CCP? 85, 90%. That's how many. I can tell you that. Exempted. Here's another one. 2 million illegal invaders. Exempted. They don't have to get the shot. Now, what is going on here? Now, let me throw another one in. This is going to be the cherry on top. At least 500,000 homeless tent and street people are exempted.
ثم الشيطان يزيد الأمر على الإخوة فيقول يعني هذا اللقاح فيه ضرر.
Let's take a look. First, we've got population. The world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
The first week we met in January of 19 in California and to set up the goals for the next 5 years. And one of them was by 2023 we will reduce the number of people in the world by 50%. I think today this dream is becoming reality.
So it's really a purpose-driven company.
وهناك من ينصح من أهل الفضل والعلم بعدم أخذه، والحقيقة أنه ليس المرجع في هذا إلى أهل الفضل. أهل الفضل ماذا عندهم؟ أهل العلم الشرعي ماذا عندهم؟ والله سمعنا أن هناك من يقول إن فيه ضررا. ليسوا مرجعا في هذا، وأنهم يتلقون الأمر عن أهل الخبرة الذين يوثق بقولهم.
If you were in hospice and had already been given, a few weeks to live, and then you also were found to have COVID, that would be counted as a COVID death. It means that even if you died of a clear alternate cause, but you had COVID at the same time, it's still listed as a COVID death. So everyone who's listed as a COVID death doesn't mean that that was the cause of the death, but they had COVID at the time of death. I hope that's helpful.
If someone dies with COVID-19, we are counting that as a COVID-19 death.
This violates a basic principle in medicine. It simply must be established that a patient dies because of, and not simply with, a virus. The simple and trivial presence of the virus must never ever qualify it to enter the register of COVID deaths.
I'd like to call to order this secret conclave of America's media empires. We're here to come up with the next phony baloney crisis to put Americans back where they belong, in dark rooms, glued to their televisions, too terrified to skip the commercials.
Well, I think...
NBC, you are here to listen and not speak. I think we should go with a good old-fashioned public health scare.
A new disease. No one's immune.
It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
That is so...
Now, I hate to be the guy who derails what everybody else loves.
He loves being that guy.
But, Janice, we do have standards. This can't be a made-up disease. The only moral thing to do is release a deadly virus into the general public.
We do have something we've been holding on to, but it hasn't been tested. Get over here, NBC.
Well, we certainly believe in testing, but Wow. Oh, yeah.
So, we've got our deadly disease. Now, we just have to blame it on something that's in every household, something that people are a little bit afraid of already. House cat flu is coming, people. The Center for Disease Disinformation predicts with some degree of probability that the house cat flu might spread in the following hypothetical outbreak pattern. So petter beware, that warm body on your lap just might be ready to destroy your tender fiddles.
And I remember walking after Davos into the office of my head of manufacturing, and I say, how we make $1 billion next year? And he looked at me a bit funny, say, what? I say, yeah, we need to make $1 billion next year. There's going to be a pandemic.
What kind of business are you in? We predict the future. The best way to predict the future is to invent it.
فبعض الفضلاء بعض العلم ينصح بعدم أخذه. أنا أقول العالم الشرعي وغيره سواء في هذا الأمر. ما نقول نصحنا فلان بعدم أخذه. المرجع في هذا أهل الصحة، أهل الطب.
Brought to you by Pfizer. CBS Health Watch sponsored by Pfizer. Anderson Cooper 360. Brought to you by Pfizer.
ABC News Nightline. Brought to you by Pfizer. Making a difference. Brought to you by Pfizer.
CNN Tonight. Brought to you by Pfizer. Early Start. Brought to you by Pfizer. Friday night on Aaron Burnett Out Front. Brought to you by Pfizer.
This Week with George Stephanopoulos is brought to you by Pfizer.
أما العالم وأنت سواء في هذا الأمر. هو يقرأ في الإنترنت ويسمع، وأنت تقرأ في الإنترنت وتسمع. فلا ينبغي الاحتجاج بفتاوى بعض أهل الفضل والعلم والذين يفرح بفتاواهم أصلا في مثل هذه المسألة.
Those of you who are scholars out there, I don't care what you think of me. I don't care. You can say what you want. You can think we don't lay trust in Allah. We have greater trust in Allah than you, and we have the correct trust.
هذا الذي أفتي به وأنا مطمئن القلب، ويعلم الله أني لا أنظر إلى أحد، ولكن هذا مقتضى العلم، وهذا مقتضى القواعد الشرعية، وهو الذي نفتي به ونكرره ونقرره. والواجب علينا أن نسعى إلى حماية الناس بالفتاوى العلمية المبنية على الأصول الشرعية. هذا الذي أراه والله أعلم. نعم.
Prepare for the next one. That, I'd say is will get attention this time.
بعض الناس يضحك عليهم الشيطان